So I'm joined here today by Koldo Echebarria, the Director General of Esade. Thank you, Koldo, for joining us. And we're launching today this series of talks about something very important to you, I think, mental health.
There are numbers that say that something like 1/3 of students in universities suffer from mental health issues. And there's a very well-known psychiatrist working at INSEAD that has extensively written on these, and he has done a lot of therapy with managers. And he says that most of the management profession is in depression or very close to depression, which is, something that makes sense from the pressures of the profession or of the work. And I think we need to be open about this. It is an illness. We should have the capacity to cope with illness. And the only way we can do that is to be open about that and about it, and be open to treatment. And there is treatment. We know there is treatment. So we need to confront it and avoid the stigma that is all over the mental health issues. The new generations are, if you want, superpowered. They have a lot of possibilities. They can make use of incredible technologies, and they know how to use them. But at the same time, they are super pressured. They have to become robot-proof. So they have a professional future which is much more demanding. Well, this combination of being raised in an affluent society and at the same time being pressed by circumstances that demand much more of them, I think it's a complicated cocktail. I think it's a cocktail that normally comes with more mental health issues. If you add to that COVID, which is something we have not been prepared for, which takes out our social life and it creates also new pressures, then the situation becomes very difficult. I am very, very critical of this reliance of the individual leader. I think that is a weakness. If an organization is so reliant on a powerful leader, it is a weak organization. I think that leaders are important, especially in certain moments, to make changes, to try to move in different directions. But what lasts is the institution, and that is a collective effort. It's not an individual effort.
Yeah, this is very interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot of, when we start linking up all the mental health problems and the issues, even with burnout, right, which is very much at the end of the spectrum of this stress and living under stress, in many cases is more due to the organizational ethos almost. It is the environment that's breathing that sort of stress because of many reasons. Could be the leadership and the top-down approach. Could be just in general how people feel with the pressures in the organization. Yet very few organizations are actually taking this at the core of strategy and say we're going to change the way we operate because this is actually hurting us because of all the stress and the burnout that creates. What is the paradigm shift that's needed here, if any?
If you have a culture which is very stable in general, that is not very prone to change, you will have more difficulty in adaptation. Mm-hmm. If you have an organization whose culture is more of accepting change and making adaptations constantly and looking forward even to adaptations because there are opportunities in adaptation, so the stress will be much lower. That's a very, very big issue. I don't think that we can, in this context, saying, well, everything will be fine, because everything will not be fine. Everything will change. Everything will mean new challenges, and we need to develop more resilience to cope with that.
Let's go a little bit further with the stress to the end of the continuum with burnout. So it's about 70%, 75% of people at the top that have, through studies, been identified as suffering from heavy stress. 1/3 do say it is extreme, and it actually impedes their day-to-day operations. It leads many times to depression, as you mentioned. it is like having diabetes. I mean, it is an illness that can be managed, as you say.
It is true, it is an illness. The problem is that we don't have the diagnostic tools that make it more objective in terms of the diagnosis. I mean, there's not a blood test that inevitably tells you that you suffer from certain mental illness. And you look for a number of symptoms, and then you build a narrative in relation to these symptoms that makes the doctor say that you have this kind of mental health problem. If you break a leg, it's evident that you break a leg, and nobody is going to discuss that you have broken your leg. And as it is, I would say, to some extent ambiguous, there's this connection with weakness and mental health, and this connection with lack of character and mental health. And of course, when you are being perceived with this problem, then I mean, it is not welcome by other people that you are so weak character type. No, it's not something. So the risk of being transparent is that you are being characterized as unfit for society or unfit for work, which is absurd. But anyway, there is this case.
So what would you say in your own experience when you've been in moments where you were, under a lot of pressure, be it in Haiti or even now during the times of COVID, when, sometimes sort of you're on the brink of sort of losing it in a way that, I can't deal with this anymore. What do you do?
I try to disconnect. That's one thing. And I try to read. I try to listen to music. I try to watch a film that I like and that takes me out of the...
But do you have time to do that in a moment?
Yes, I do have time. I read a lot, and I love reading, and I have time to read every day. The problem with the management work is that you could devote to management the 24 hours of the day. There are always things that you can do. There's always people that you can talk to. There's always reports that you can read. There's always things that you can do. But that will destroy you if you don't make a space for other things, for decompressing you in other activities. So I am quite disciplined on that, and try to disconnect every day. The other thing that is as well possibly useful is just silence, just staying in silence and trying not to talk during a period of time and not to be disturbed, take noise out, and this works. But that's not an easy exercise for a manager, because our daily routine is one activity after the other. It's a frantic routine that it's very difficult to manage in that routine a space of silence where you do nothing, but staying in peace. That's what you need to do. I think that helps, and it connects you better with your inner self and allows you to be a little bit more reflective. Then there are things that also can be done in a more structured way, and you can have a therapist, or you can have, which I think is very useful, by the way, and it helps very much if it's done well. You need a therapist that you connect with. It's very important that you are comfortable with a therapist, but I think it can be a very, very useful approach. Or you can have a counselor. You can have a close friend whom you can discuss these kind of important things. And that's, by the way, a tradition of the Jesuits, to have different figures that provide you with counsel, advice, or allow you to express what you feel. And some of them go into the personal area.